Joining us now, Congressman Jeff Van Drew from House Homeland Security, along with GOP strategist Ford O'Connell. It's great to have you both on. Thanks for joining us. Congressman, okay, the hearings tonight on primetime, the January 6 hearings. Biden has hit yet another low in a new Quinnipiac poll. 33%, Congressman. He lacks a political base. Only 1 out of 5 millennials approve of him, less than 1 out of 4 Hispanics, less than 4 out of 10 women. Biden is floundering so badly, it's like he's deep-sea diving and swimming in a raincoat on so many issues.
It's unbelievable. And you know what's really worrisome? Rather than really approach these issues as a serious adult, someone that really truly cares about what's happening and what's going on, we find that this president simply has now a made-for-TV special going on what happened January 6th. That's not the answer. The answer is to open up and produce energy. The answer is to get a real, manufacturing base in the United States of America and a supply chain. The answer is to make sure that our cities are safe, that our crime rate goes down, that we don't keep putting people in and out of prison like a revolving door. Our answer is that we close the borders and make our borders safe like almost every other country in the world does. I don't know how he gets 30% or 33% of the vote. As far as I'm concerned, he deserves 0% of the vote. He's killing our country, and all that's happening in the great United States of America is self-inflicted by this majority party and this president. I'm disgusted with it.
To the congressman's point, Ford, okay, they're doing their primetime hearings, right, on the Capitol riots. They've been lecturing about that. We understand that. They've been talking a lot about that. But the point is, the Pelosi and the Democrats are leaving, not taking up the Senate bill to protect the Supreme Court justices. And last night, with the president and Jimmy Kimmel, he mentioned the word mini revolution the same day of an assassination attempt on Justice Kavanaugh. Let's listen to what happened with Jimmy Kimmel. Watch.
I think a lot of Democrats are frustrated because, we got out and voted. We won the House, the Senate, the White House, obviously, and still we have made very little progress. I understand that argument, but also it's like you're playing Monopoly with somebody who, won't pass go and won't follow any of the rules. And how do you ever make any progress if they're not following the rules?
We've got to send them to jail, There's that little box in there. But what we haven't done is we haven't been able to communicate it in a way that is, let me say another way. Things is that it's very difficult now to have a... I'm
going to take a break, and then we'll talk a little bit more, if you don't mind. I'm sorry. We have some of those commercials.
You had to rescue him with a commercial break, Ford.
Look, the interview with Jimmy Kimmel was appalling. I can't believe that was his first primetime interview in 4 months, and Joe Biden is once again engaging in fear-mongering. Joe Biden's radical policies are turning America into a third-world country in record time. And rather, to the congressman's point, than exercise leadership, what he's going to do is continue to engage in fear-mongering and counter-programming over the next 5 months. There is a reason why Joe Biden has the lowest approval rating in polling history, and that is because he's ignoring the problems that are most concerned the American people, because the American people believe that Joe Biden is more concerned about his radical agenda than their lives and their future.
And to what Ford is saying, Congressman, kitchen table issues are swamping the Democrats and the president. We've got reports the Labor Department, OSHA, and the FDA heard about baby formula problems at that Abbott plant nearly a year earlier than realized. They heard about it last year from a whistleblower complaint. We've got out-of-stock baby formula in multiple states, 90% or more.
And not only that, then they go ahead and they do a bill, a piece of legislation, and the title of the legislation was something like getting more baby formula on our shelves for our babies. No, what the legislation was, when you read into it, I was hoping that it would be that, but it wasn't. When you read into it, it was hiring thousands and thousands more people to work for the FDA, which is the whole organization that started the problem to begin with and was so much at fault. It is unbelievable that this country, who was the strongest and best nation in the world, has sunk to this low. We've got a job on our hands. Everybody. We've got to stand up. We've got to be strong. We've got to stand tall. And we've got to bring our America back to where it belongs. This is no joke. And it's just one more sign of a completely inept administration. And let me just wrap up with this. And you've heard me say this before. This president deserves to have a cognitive test. And I will bet everything I have in the world that he will fail.
You know, what the congressman was saying, Ford, that, you know, here's what's going on. Even Bernie Sanders, this is pretty rich. The irony is rich. Bernie Sanders is warning Democrats change course before you nosedive in the midterms. When Bernie Sanders and the far left dragged Biden into what the New York Times calls the problems from hell. You know, we can talk about the parade of horribles, and it is a long one. But are voters catching on that all these academic hothouse ideas and thought experiments don't work in the real world?
Look, the congressman's absolutely right. We need to take back our country. And yes, Bernie Sanders is correct as well in the sense that the Democrats are in the worst electoral position in the last 80 years. Unfortunately, Liz, let's look at two issues that Joe Biden can do something about. The border, which Donald Trump had the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years, and gas prices. If he would stop canceling pipeline projects and stop putting onerous regulations on the drilling for oil, we could drop gas prices at the pump by $1.30 to $2. But here's the deal. Many of these problems are intentional, and Joe Biden isn't concerned about the lives of the everyday American.
Which ones are intentional?
Republicans have to get back into Congress.
Which ones are intentional?
The border is absolutely... The border is absolutely intentional. He could continue with Title 42, which he wants to get rid of. He could continue with Remain in Mexico. Okay. What's also intentional is the gas prices, which is 40% of inflation.
Got it. Congressman Jeff Van Drew and Ford O'Connell, terrific interviews there. Thank you so much.